Hello, I'm Mezzenga, and this is Retail Field Report. And we have a special edition today of our People of Retail Field Report featuring Halfdays Chief Product Officer, Annie Short. Annie, welcome to Retail Field Report.
Thank you so much, Anne. I'm so excited to get to talk with you today and to be part of the field report.
Yes, well, we just met this year. You have been one of the most influential and inspirational people in retail that I've gotten to talk to. Every time we sit down, I feel like I have so much to go through with you, to learn from you. So I'm really excited that our audience today gets to have that moment. But before we get into retail talk, I want to know, what did you do before work today, Annie?
Well, great question. Before work, I did my kind of normal routine. I like to start the days with a little bit of structure before all of the noise kicks in of your hectic life. So, my normal oatmeal and blueberries, and going for a quick walk outside, which really just helps to get me settled and situated before I dive into business recaps and figuring out what the day holds.
And you're based in Denver. So do you have like a path that you walk through? Like I'm picturing this like beautiful mountain scene that of like crisp air and all the things. What is that? Am I imagining your real life, or is it like walk down to the corner and back?
I'm very lucky to say you're imagining my real life. So I live in Golden, right outside of Denver, and I live right at the base of a mountain. So can just hike up the trails and you can't beat it, honestly.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we're going to have to include some photos when we post this of what your morning walk looks like, so we truly can have a day in the life of Annie Short. Okay, let's shift gears onto what's happening at work. You are the Chief Product Officer at Halfdays. Let's talk about a little bit right now about like what you feel like the biggest opportunity is in front of you right now when it comes to the work context. And for those who might not know Halfdays, maybe like weave that into the answer a little bit too.
Sure. So kind of the biggest opportunity right now, I would say, is just what we as Halfdays are building within the outdoor market. So a little bit about Halfdays is we are a women-founded brand for women by women that is really focused on bridging that gap between technical, performance-driven apparel and the fashion side of things. So we don't believe a woman should have to choose of being warm and dry and bombing it down the ski hills versus like looking really good. You should be able to have both, and that's what we provide with Halfdays.
Oh my God, you're speaking my language, Annie. You're speaking my language.
I know.
Function and fashion, all in one.
Exactly. I've been in the industry for many years and, been in prior companies like North Face and LL Bean and various ones that play in the outdoors in different ways. And this is the first one where I really feel like we've unlocked what women want. And to me, that's what drives the opportunity is like now that we've started to capture this consumer who's always been here, but we're learning how to talk to her more, what products she wants, how she shops. And it just makes every day really exciting because we are tapping in again into this white space in the market that people haven't really played in, and we get to lead the way in a way that really talks to our consumers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes really well into my next question for you, which is, what do you want your customers to know about or experience at Halfdays, especially when like the high fashion, high technical product has been out of reach for most consumers, in the US for a long time. It was, thousands of dollars for a jacket or ski pants. And yes, they were great technical gear. They're very fashion forward by some of the bigger luxury houses. But like, what is important for your customer to experience both in their interactions with Halfdays and with the products themselves?
Yeah, so I think for when we think about the products that we're building and how we want the consumers to experience the products, what I really like to think about is how when you're shopping or you're buying a jacket or whatever it might be, that moment when you put it on and how it transforms you. how it turns you into who you want to become and who you are today as well. And at Halfdays, we're really focused on understanding that emotional connection, and then, of course, supporting that emotional connection with the best quality product out there. So offering the highest warmth ratings, waterproof ratings, all of the technical details, but not forgetting how important it is to have that emotional connection where you put on that piece and you're just like, I'm ready for the day. I feel beautiful and strong and like I can take on the world.
Yeah. And especially with a product like a jacket that, at least speaking from somebody who lives in the Midwest, like that is your fashion accessory for 4 to 5 months out of the year. So you want to feel like you are yourself in that. And it's hard. It's been really hard to do, I think, especially at a price point that's approachable for many more of the consumers in the US. Let's shift gears to your associates. I just ran into a few of your team members at Shop Talk. They love working at Halfdays, but what do you want to do as Chief Product Officer to help improve the lives of those who are working for you and with you, Annie?
Yeah, so I think for me, one of the most important things that I really value in building is a strong culture, one that feels collaborative and that we all have the same goals that we're marching towards, and we lift each other up and are really supportive in doing that. And so that is a key part that I really like to focus on in my role, to make sure that we're doing that not only on my team, but as an organization as a whole. And one of the big parts that we are continuing to push on within the brand is making sure the business is more transparent and predictable for the teams, just as we're at such a growth phase. And it's been so exciting, but everything moves so fast. So really working on that communication side of things so that regardless of the role that you are in, you know how what you bring to the table every day impacts the company as a whole, and the importance that each role plays in that. And I believe the best way to do that is by being transparent around what's happening in the business and how you can make an impact personally.
That's so cool because, and for lack of a better word, but I mean, I think that's something that was always missing for me, especially the bigger the company that you get into. Like, when you have a feeling of ownership over the work that you're doing and the contribution that you're making to the company, it makes it feel like you're your own little business inside of this big business. And I mean, do you feel like you get more compelling work or response from people when they know that information or they see the impact that they're having?
I totally do. I think it's also tied to getting to know everyone on your team at a really human level and understanding what motivates them, so that you can tie those impact measurements to what actually motivates you and what is driving you personally. And I think having that transparency and being able to say, yes, you made a difference by doing this, really gets people excited and more passionate about what they're doing day to day.
Right. Well, and one of the things that I love so much about you, and I've heard accolades about you from your team because you are so transparent. What's one thing, Annie, that's on your to-do list that you would admit keeps getting pushed down, but that you really, really want to try to accomplish this year?
Yeah, I would say, well, what I am most passionate about is really thinking about the future of product, which makes sense for the role that I'm in. And I do spend obviously quite a bit of time on that, but so much of my day is focused on the immediacy of running the business and working on things that we need to cover today. So what I would love to spend more time on is uninterrupted planning of what's really going to move the needle in the future, and figuring out, even deeper who our consumer is and how she wants to show up in the world, and what are creative and impactful ways to bring product to her that no one's thought of yet. So those are the things that I wouldn't say it gets pushed down on my list, but I wish I had more time to do and to work with my team on those brainstorming and blue sky ideas of, if you had no guardrails, how would you change this business to continue to drive a huge impact in the industry?
Well, I wish for you that those things come true, Annie, that you have more time or that you find the tools so that we can get you more time to think about product because you've been doing such a tremendous job so far. Um, let's go on to the next question. What is something that you think that the industry or media or consumers get wrong about the apparel industry, especially your sector in this like high tech, high fashion apparel? What would you like to set the record straight on?
Well, it's such a great question. I think some people view the industry as really exciting and really creative, which it absolutely is. But I think people underestimate how much discipline goes into building a successful apparel business. And it can
Mm,
look very, very creative from the outside, but behind the scenes, it's actually deeply analytical. So it's
okay.
balancing that, art and science of what do you think the future holds? What do you think are the problems you can solve that no one else ever has? And that's
Yeah.
so exciting. But then balancing that with data and analytics to say, what's the reason we believe we can do this and how
Yeah.
are we going to do it? So I think
And
that's where it gets really interesting.
And Annie, how do you think about that in terms of like incorporating technology into helping with that process? Like I've heard from some designers or especially own brands at mass retailers who are using AI to like help with trends spotting and kind of assembling sort of what the data might tell them is a trend that's coming up. Like how do you balance that art and science, especially with like are there tools or technologies that you're using to kind of help expedite that so that the human workforce can really like focus a little bit more on making those key decisions with the data that you've collected?
Yeah, so I think we do use quite a bit of AI in our day-to-day work, and it's really to supplement all of the amazing work that our team does in order to be
Right.
more efficient. So it's not
Okay.
really removing any of the amazing skills that we have on the team, just making it more impactful and faster. So what I love to do is really work in, whether it's in Claude or chat, and start to prompt different questions to be
Hmm.
able to gather deep research
Okay.
behind the scenes so that I don't have to dig through all of the various substacks and those sorts of things to figure out
Yeah.
themes. So I
Yeah.
do a lot of like deep research on that aspect to understand what are the trends that we're seeing within the industry and then in adjacent industries that could be leading indicators of how we might want to adjust our apparel and product focus going forward.
That's so cool. What's like an example of a prompt that you've given recently that like about a trend or technology or something that's kind of helped inform that?
Yeah, so I did one recently that was really focused on our spring summer and
Okay.
looking at consumers that are typically more of a Pilates princess, yoga queen
Hmm.
types of things, and saying for this cohort of people, what are most likely to be activities that they may be interested in that are outdoor sports to understand if there's kind of more of a crossover that we could
Yeah.
potentially tap into, which was great. Just all the analytics that came through with that prompt, and then being able to dig in and see what little nuggets can spark ideas.
Yeah, that's an awesome example. I love that. And probably, those are the kinds of things that before would have taken a team to research. And now you've got a great starting point where it's like, okay, now I can dig into like, is it hiking? Is it, camping? Is it this kind of thing? Like, what are those things that they really want to be doing that are outdoors that translate and then the gear that can translate back and forth to those experiences too. Um, okay. Last question.
Yes.
What moment have you had most recently that made you excited or happy about being in your role where you just felt like, man, I love this job?
Yes. Well, just a couple days ago, so it's very recent, we finished out building a collaboration, which is going to launch this winter
my God.
with an amazing brand and launching a whole new ski and apparel capsule that has been a lot of labor of love. And we got it across the finish line where all parties feel super excited about how everything has come together. And those are the moments when you're being really creative, working with other teams that you don't typically work with and bringing something completely new to the market that feel so exciting and make me really, really proud and happy to be in the role that I'm in today.
Well, thank you, Annie, for going the extra mile to bring those teams together, to bring us these incredible collaborations. If people want to check out Halfdays, where can they find it?
Yeah, so halfdays.com is our e-com site. We also have a flagship location in Denver, Colorado. And then we're at all your favorite retailers across the US, from REI to Revolve to Shopbop to Nordstrom. Just take a look and you'll find us.
Yes, you probably already have something from Halfdays that's been in your cart at some point in time. And now, hopefully, Annie has given you a reason to pull the trigger. So thank you so much, Annie Short, Chief Product Officer at Halfdays. Thank you for joining us, all of you who are listening and standing by. And until next time, stay curious.